So welcome to all the participants to the afternoon session of the third day of the AICT sponsored training program on AI powered solutions for healthcare innovations. So one of the participants have requested for sharing the attendance before 3:15 since the college closes that time. Don't worry, we'll be sharing the feedback as well as the attendance before that. That is not a matter of concern. All the participants should be ready for doing the hands-on session today. I take it as a ma'am.
Yes,
So
yes.
it is a hands-on, so I hope all the participants will be ready with their laptops. Hope so. In fact, it is our privilege to have you amongst us here, Dr. Pooja Jain ma'am from Department of CSC, Triple IT Nagpur, who is having more than 15 years of teaching and research as well as industry experience. Welcome, ma'am. On behalf of the management of KCG College of Technology and the entire team of the STTP, I extend my hearty welcome to you to this afternoon session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So again, welcome all the participants to the second session of today's STTP. And as I mentioned in the previous section, that in this session we will basically concentrate on the hands-on. And as I could see from the previous two days sessions, that you have already been acquainted with the concepts of hands-on, but actually you have not done it. So we will do it today on Collab itself. I'm not going into the deep details of Python because I assume that since in the last 2 days you have been through the introduction to the hands-on, so you are aware of Python and its constructs. So I will directly start with NumPy, Pandas, and sklearn. Okay, so as I mentioned in the morning as well, that we would be doing it on Colab. So I'm just trying to share my screen now, and we'll do it. I'm not sure what is visible.
The Teams is visible, ma'am.
Yeah, I need to check. The entire desktop should be visible, no?
Okay. The PPT and the paint is visible now. Yes, the desktop is visible now.
Okay, now you can see the Internet Explorer now, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So in on that you just write COLAB collab. As soon as you write collab, so the first is collab.research.google.com. Collab is nothing but a cloud that has been given by Google on which you can execute your ML programs. First, I will tell you that what is the advantage of it.
Ma'am, have you put your video on or is
It's off because as soon as you share the screen, the video gets off.
okay?
I think that's there with Google Meets, which you have taken for the subscription. Because as soon as I share the video, share the screen, the video goes off.
Okay, okay. Okay, ma'am. We'll see into it if it can be sorted out.
Not a problem at all. It's fine, absolutely fine.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So, as I was telling you that Colab is nothing but a Google Cloud which has been given by Google, and it gives you a RAM on which you can actually code. So you don't have to have that much of RAM and hard disk on your own personal computer. So this is an advantage of cloud, that you can directly execute your programs. And generally what happens is you have 2 GB of RAM, maximum 4 GB of RAM. So for 4 GB of RAM, you can have only 4 GB of machine of data set. But as I told in the morning as well, that machine learning is only felicitated if you have a huge amount of data, and that huge amounts of data can range from 2 GB to 10 GB to 20 GB and sometimes 50 GB as well. So in such cases, it's not possible to execute your program onto your own machine. You can do it, but it will take a lot of time because every time 4 GB of data will come to the RAM and it would be executed. So it takes at least 2 days, 1.5 days, half days like this for the training part. So it's always better to use Colab, because in that case, you are not confined by the specifications or configurations of your computer. So if you see here also, at one point you will get to know that how much depth. Anyways, so first of all, let's have a very quick hands-on on Python. Python doesn't deal with Python is a very easy language. It is an object-oriented language. It is an interpreted language as Java. So the entire code is not compiled at once go, but it is done line by line, and it is free of syntax. The syntax is quite easy. I won't say it is free of syntax, but it is very easy. And it is free of the data types. It will take the data type as per the data that you put into it. So that is a very big advantage of Python. At the first instance, it will take a little time because your request has to go to the cloud, and then only you can get the answer for it. And if you see here, this is the RAM and the disk that is available to you for your execution. So if you see, you have 12 GB of RAM and 32 GB of 107 GB of hard disk. So you have a huge amount of hard disk on which you can actually run your machine learning codes with so much of data set, and you have 12 GB of RAM as well. It makes your task easier. So as I was telling you, if you have huge amount of data, it's good that you can use Colab, and you are not confined to the specifications of your computer. So now d is equal to 10, and at this point of time, if you try to print the type of d, it will say it is an integer. Okay, and if I say d is equal to Pooja, so then in this case it will see it is a type of string. See, and if I say d is equal to 2.3, it will say it is a float here. So you see, you don't have to mention float d, int d, char d, that you have to do it in C, C++ or Java. So this makes your task very, very easy. Second thing is, you can have lists, tuples, and dictionaries. Lists are enclosed with square brackets, and they are heterogeneous. Heterogeneous in the sense like this, and you can have duplicate values also there. And another one is boolean. I can have a boolean value also, and like this. So this is from a list. So if you say what is the type of the list, it says it is a list, and duplicates are allowed. Duplicates are allowed. And most important thing is lists are mutable. I'm just giving you a refresher of this so that you are aware. Mutable means I can change the values. So if I want to have d of 0 is equal to a value changed, that can be done, and I can simply say print d. So now d of 0 would be Rahul, like this. Then accessing different values is also possible. Suppose if I say print d starting from 2 to 4, like this, so slicing is done. So second and the third element would be printed. Here it is 0, 1, 2. So 2 and 3 is printed, and fourth is always excluded. The second argument is always excluded, and it starts from 2, and whatever indexing you have in list, tuples, or dictionaries always starts with 0. So 0, 1, 2, like this. I would be very happy to know in your chat box that if you are doing it along with me or not. Kindly let me know if you are doing it along with me and you are not facing any problems in doing it. One yes, Dinesh Kumar, yes. Yes, Archana ma'am, perfect. It's great that you people are doing along with me. Great. And I'm going a little fast on Python part because I believe that you have already been through Python. So I'm going quite fast on that. So this is a list, and this way this is known as slicing. I've already shown you that it is mutable. You can change it and the duplicates are allowed. 3 to 4, 3 to 4 duplicates are allowed. Similarly, I can have a tuple also in this. The only difference lies is it has to be in round brackets for declaration. And the second most important thing, it is immutable. So it says it is a tuple. But if I try to do this, it will give me an error. So let's see. So at the first instance, it gives me an error because tuple does not support item assignment. So I cannot modify it. Modifications of tuple is not allowed. So this gives me an error. So the basic difference between list and tuples is the tuples are immutable. You cannot make any modifications to a tuple. Clear? The lists are mutable. You can make modifications, but tuples are immutable. You cannot modify it. Duplicates are allowed. Slicing is done. So if I remove this part, then you would be able to get the slicing like this. So all these are available, but mutable, immutable part is there. I hope you have done with tuples and lists. Which doc you are talking about? This code? Raila ma'am, you're talking about the code. I'll share the code with you. Please don't worry for this. I'll share the code. I'll share the slides.
Ma'am, is it possible that you log off and log in, then maybe the video will come back like last time?
Um, uh, Actually, I don't think we need a video. That is why I was not worried about it.
Okay.
It's not a
Okay.
problem.
Okay, ma'am. Your wish.
हाँ ठीक है
Thank you,
तो
ma'am. Yeah.
ठीक है चलेगा कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Raila ma'am, I will give you sufficient time, so please don't worry for typing. If you want, I can copy paste the code here. So, but you really do it along with me because I will share the code, not a problem. But then you won't have a feel of it, and then until and unless you have the feel of the code, you will not enjoy. I can copy paste the code as and when you say, but please do it. Okay. Then one thing we have dictionaries. Dictionaries are nothing but they are key value pairs. So I say dictionary is equal to, we do it in curly brackets, and I say name and give the value of the name like this. Then I may give organization and then the value of it like this. I'm not going ahead on that. And then I can simply say print D1. Then I can say print the type, so it will say it is a dictionary. Then there is something like d1 dot values and d1 dot items and d1 dot types. All that can be done. So these are the dictionary values. I can also print the keys. I can print the complete details. So there are many functions which you can apply on list. Many other functions which you can apply on tuples and dictionaries so that you can go through on later. This is unsupervised. This is a semi-supervised technique that we are following, in which some of the things I'll do it here and some of the things you'll have to do it on your own. So we'll follow a semi-supervised technique. Actually, I'm in Andheri West. Okay, so we have the name and the organization like this. Keys and values can be printed like this. And there are many other functions of dictionaries. The slicing is done, d1 of 0 will print it. All this can be done, of course. And it is mutable also. You can change the values. If I want to change the value of a key or a value, that can be done easily. So this is possible. So dictionary is also mutable. Only one which is not mutable is tuples. And the last but not the least is the sets. So sets are the mutable part, and the most important thing in sets is duplicates are not allowed. So if you want to have unique values, so then you go for the sets. In that case, the duplicates are not allowed. Okay. So that finishes off some of the introduction to Python. Let's start with NumPy. NumPy is a numerical library which is there with Python, and it's basically used for numerical calculations. So import NumPy as NP is the first statement that we are going to do. And it says import is nothing but inclusion of a library, that we do it in Java and C++ also. Like in C++, we write hash include. We write it like this. And in Java, we use import only. So this is nothing but we are trying to include a library, and we are giving it an alias as NP because it's tough to write NumPy every time. So we are simply saying import NumPy as NP. So whenever you want to use functions of NumPy, we use the this alias as NP. And we are creating a NumPy array like this, 1, 2, 3. This is a NumPy array. I'm copy pasting this code here as well. So please try it out and let me know at any point of time if you face any problem. The video is visible. So at any point of time, if you feel that you have a problem, let me know. So in this case, I'm creating a NumPy array. And if you want, you can find out the type of this array. So it will say it is a NumPy n-dimensional array. And the array would be stored. This is nothing but a list basically. So what you are doing it is you are converting a list to a NumPy array. So that we can very well do like this as array. So if we have an existing list, and we can very well convert it into an as array. As array is a function which converts a NumPy array to a list like this. Then I can also convert it into float. At this point of juncture, I will wait for a couple of minutes for you to try it out and let me know if you have any doubts or questions. Try to make a NumPy array directly and also take a list and then convert it into a NumPy array. Are you able to do it? Please let me know. Done. Okay, Bhavesh sir, perfect. Similarly, you can convert any array to float also. So all the values of that would be converted to float. So sometimes it is required that I want all the numbers to be float instead of integers. So that can be done. This is all what I was trying to show. This is a set. I can have this as a set. It is done with the help of curly brackets, and curly brackets without any key value pairs, because curly brackets, if it is a key value pair, it will become a dictionary. And if it was only a curly bracket, then it would be a set like this. And if you see, if you say what type of it will say it is a set. I can print out the shape of X. What was shape of X? It has 3 columns. So it will say 3 comma. The second thing is not there. Then I can create a double dimensional array also like this. I'm just copy pasting it here so that you can please try it out. A double dimensional array. And then I can go ahead and print the shape of it as, so it says it is a 2 cross 3 array. And similarly, then in that you can do the index, you can do the retrieval of a particular element by using the slicing. But in this case, what you will have to do is you will have to do 2 slices. One will be for the rows. The first one will be for the rows and second will be for the columns. So whatever slicing that you are doing, you will have to do it for rows and columns separately. Okay. Are you able to do it? So in this way you can, okay, if you want to access only 2 and 5, so what you will do is you will say 0 is 2. That means I want all the rows starting from 0 to all the rows. I have not given the second argument. 0 is 2. So all the rows and the first column. So that means 0 and 1. So 2 and 5 for all the rows. The second column for all the rows. So 2 and 5 are printed. Can anybody tell me to print 3 and 6? Yeah, 5 and 6. Tell me something to print 5 and 6. Can anybody tell me how to get 5 and 6 in this? Only 5 and 6. Try it out and let me know. 5 and 6. Did anyone try? Jyoti Prahlad Patil, ma'am, there is no PPT. We are not doing any PPT. We are directly doing it on Colab. We are practicing the session, so there is no PPT. Can anybody tell me how to print 5 and 6? Five and 6. Any idea? No one? Nobody is able to give me the values for 5 to 6, 5 and 6. You have to select the second row and the second and the third column. No one? So you just have to write X, second row. Second row means 1 and the second and the third column. So 1 is 2 like this. So let's see if it gives you the answer. Yeah. The second row and the second and the third column, 1 is 2. I'm not getting any responses. I hope people are doing with me. Yes, perfect, Bhavesh sir. Okay. Now there is another command which gives, we can take an array of all zeros like this. So I'll just skip this all. I can have an identity matrix like this. I can have a random matrix. Now this is very much required in in many of the applications and real world applications in which you don't have the correct data. So, and you can have a random values. But this is basically taking the values, random values from 0 to 1. So I'm giving you a food for thought. How can I have values between some numbers like from 10 to 20? I want to have a 5 cross 5 array, 5 cross 5 array with values ranging from 10 to 20. Can anybody tell me this? So I am using a random.random function, but there are certain parameters which needs to be added and deleted in this. And so that I am able to give you the range, because this is by default range from 0 to 1. So I want a range from 10 to 20. Think over. No one? Okay. I'm giving you this food for thought. Think over, and then you can find it out. Similarly, I can have a transpose of a matrix like this. I gave you a question in the morning also, like why do we need to take the square of the errors? So probably one of the professors was able to give the answer that like treating the outliers. So the values which are quite far off. So if we do the square of them, then they are more penalized. So they will not be included in the training set. That is why we do it. Then there is very important another function which is reshape. Now these are all used at the type of somebody asked me that is there any book for pre-processing? Pre-processing, actually there isn't any book, because every data set has its own limitations. Like suppose if you have a data set which is all numbers, okay, all floats, and you want it to be converted to integers, so we can use some of the numpy functions. Or I have certain columns which are alphabetic, and you cannot do analysis on alphabetic data, so you have to convert it into numbers. So there is one thing which is known as encoding. So what is encoding? I'll show you what is encoding. Like suppose I have a data set of all cities. I have a data set of cities, suppose. So I have Kanpur, Lucknow, Agra, again Kanpur, Agra, Delhi, Agra, like this. So suppose I have this data set. So I cannot do the analysis on this data set, which may be comprising of the city of residence. What I will say, Kanpur stands for 1, Lucknow stands for 2, Agra stands for 3. Kanpur 1, Agra 3, Delhi is 4. Then Agra again 3, Kanpur is 1, like this. So you have done the encoding. This you need not do manually. There is a function of encoding the values like this. After we have done NumPy, Pandas, and sklearn, I'll show you the COVID dataset. I'll take a Corona dataset, and I'll show you that how we can do the analysis on this COVID dataset. So in that, I'll show you how the encoding is done. So pre-processing requires a lot of things to be done, and it will come only with practice. There is no book can actually tell you about all this. Okay. So reshaping is very much required in some of the cases in which I want only a one column, or I don't want 4 or 5 columns. I want just one column. So, but the only limitation here is the number of values should be the same. So in the previous one, I had a 4x5 array. So it had 20 values. So I just have to convert it to 20x1. So this also will have 20 values. The number of values should remain the same before and after. Then I can have an array of all natural numbers like this. I can have an array of all natural numbers. Okay. Then I can perform certain operations as addition, subtraction, multiplication. And for multiplication, the rule will remain the same. The column of the first should be equal to the row of the second, like this. And similarly, we can get the answers. So I'm just trying to print this also. So give the values of A and B. Take some A and B as matrices, as two arrays. Take two arrays of A and B, and then you perform the operations of addition, subtraction, and multiplication. I am giving you 2 minutes of time. Just go through it once and try it out, because that would be almost inner product, outer product. This all you can also try. Try this also for inner and the outer products. You can take A and B as the names of the matrices. So try it out: addition, subtraction, and inner and outer products. And then probably we'll come here and find out the sum of a matrix. Now see it very carefully, and then I'll give you 2 minutes of time to try it out: addition, subtraction, inner product, outer product, and the sum. Sum is very important, because sometimes what happens is I have some numbers like this. These are some data values. Okay. And I want this. There are three things that I can do. I want the sum of the complete array, or I can want to find out the sum row wise, or I want to find out the sum column wise. So that is what it mentions. Axis is equal to 0 and axis is equal to 1. Axis is equal to 0 will say I am trying to find out the sum row wise, and axis is equal to 1 will say find out the sum column wise. So what are the things that I can do? Here I can find out a sum like this. So this will give you row wise, and I can also do the summation column wise like this. So this also will have column wise. Okay. So depending upon the structure of your array, the shape of your array, accordingly you will have that many of answers. If it has 5 rows and you're doing it row wise, you will have 5 answers. If you have 10 columns and you are doing it column wise, you will have 10 answers. Correct? So I am giving you 2 minutes of time to do it. Take two arrays, do the addition, subtraction, inner product, outer product, and also do this, the summation of the arrays, column wise and row wise. And this would be an end to NumPy. And then we'll start with pandas. So I'm giving you 2 minutes of time. Please do it. And meanwhile, I'm sharing a file with Ramya ma'am. I'm sharing a file with Ramya ma'am, which would be required for pandas. Better, what I'll do is I'll share the COVID data set itself, or I'm sharing both the data sets with Ramya ma'am. I'm writing a mail to her.
I'll share it now, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm writing a mail to you with both the data sets. It would be great if you can please share it with the participants.
Okay, ma'am. I'll share it now.
Yes. So I'm giving them 2 minutes of time to just try these addition, subtraction, inner and outer products and the sum of the numbers. Meanwhile, I'm sharing the this data sets. So I have shared, ma'am, both the data sets with you. Please pass it on to the participants as well.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Bhavish sir, yes, you can use at also. But try it out. Can we do it with column wise and row wise? Did you try doing it? I didn't get any response on the chat box also. I hope you people are doing it. I hope you people are doing it. Once it is done, please let me know onto the chat box so that I can start with pandas. Let me know if you have done it so I can start with pandas. Okay, I have not got any response. Nevertheless, now what you do is pandas is another library which is used with Python, and it's basically for converting a data set into a data frame. Now, what is a data frame? I have this data set. Okay. Now, this data set, I want to take only the 3 rows, only the first 3 rows, or I want to take only the 5th row. So, what I'll do is for this 3 rows, the first 3 rows, I will convert it into a different frame of data, and I would apply different operations on this frame of data. Okay, so basically you can say I want to take a screenshot of that particular data set only, and want to apply different operations on that data only, not on the rest of the data, isn't it? So if I want to have applications, different operations on the data, I go for pandas. So import pandas as PD, that is very much similar to import numpy as NP. And then what you have to do is, if you see this rectangular box, click on this. So you will see like here, and you click on this, which uploads a data set to it. And I have already shared the 2 data sets, and try to upload the mobile_clean.csv file. Here it is. So as soon as you upload, that file would be visible here. I'm stopping here for 2 minutes. Let me know once you are through with this, because this is an important aspect for including a data set for your program. If this is not done, you would not be able to do any machine learning applications onto this. Please let me know if you are able to upload the data set. Please let me know.
Participants, I have mailed the data sets to the registered mail ID. Kindly check.
Data set is still you have not received. I think ma'am has already sent. Even if you have not received, let's start further, because once you get the data set, then probably many people are saying not received.
I have registered. I'll just see to that
Okay,
again.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Please check your email ID which is registered for the workshop, with which you registered for the workshop. Prateek Paul, sir, it is not a link because it is stored into my system. It's a very small file actually. Just for the representation purpose, I have used a very small Excel sheet. I don't think there is an option of uploading the file here. We do have it in WebEx, but I don't think we have it over here. I'm not able to see any option of uploading a file. Nevertheless, I would be sharing the code with you so you can try it out later on. Also, so if you are able to see the file, that file will appear here. Okay, if you are able to upload it properly by clicking on this, then clicking on upload, so you will be able to see here. So once you do here, so there would be a data frame which will be made out of this data set. Let me show you the data set even if you have not received it. It is a comma separated value data set, CSV data set, and it is about mobile. Underscore clean means the pre-processing has already been done. So if you see here, all the columns are numbers. All the columns are numbers. So it is already cleaned data, and there are some 49 columns. 49 columns, and the last column, if you see, is light. So basically, it is a classification problem, and I can say it is a logistic regression problem. Classification of only two classes, 0 and 1. So on the basis of the various factors, battery type, screens, number of cameras, camera type, etc., etc., you are deciding and you are taking the feedback from the customers that whether they are liking the mobile or not on the basis of processor time, thickness, flash type, etc., etc. So there are so many things on the basis of that you are going to decide, and then you are predicting it. So if you see, there are some 110 rows. Out of these 110 rows, some 80 to 90 rows will be used for training the model, and the last 10 rows will be used for validation. And then you can have another data set similar to this one, similar to these data sets. You can have another data set, and then you can predict. Like suppose if I have something similar to this, I'm changing some values here like this, something similar to this, and you have to predict whether it is being liked by the people or not. This is what you are supposed to do: training, testing, and validation. So this is basically testing, but in layman terms, we combine validation and testing together, and we say it is training and testing. Okay, but actually validation is on the 80-20 rule. The 80% will go for training and 20% will go for validation, and this will go for testing. So sometimes what happens, we don't have this much of this data separately. So what we do, we will go for 70, 30, 70, 20 and 10. 70% of the data will go for training, 20% will go for validation, and 10% will go for testing, something like this. So suppose I have 110 rows, out of which 80 rows probably, or 70 rows I'll take for training, 20 rows where I'll take for validation, and another 20 rows I'll go for testing, something like this, if I don't have a separate data for me for testing. Clear? I gave you an example of this. I give you an example of matar paneer in the morning. No? So suppose if there is no one who is coming for the guest, so what I'll do is in that only I'll do the testing itself. So today I'll make matar paneer for my family. Say tomorrow I'll again make for it family. Day after tomorrow also I'll make it for my family, and then I will decide that okay, how it is to be modified, and I'll prepare my hypothesis accordingly, and I'll do the testing there only. I will not wait for any guest to come in and then do the testing of my matar paneer. I'll do the testing with my family members itself. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes we don't have the test data. So in this cases, we'll divide the complete data set into three parts: training, validation, and testing. And then we can perform different operations on this pandas data frame. I can check for the head. First 5 rows would be printed. The last 5 rows would be printed in the tail form. LOC will be used to print only one row. I'm going on a little fast on this because I have to show you the Corona dataset as well and do for sklearn. This is something which has already been discussed, the slicing. And I would be sharing the code with you. Okay, I'm copy pasting some of the things. Okay, so all this can be very well done. I've copy pasted the code, so you please try it out once at your end as well. And this is what in which I want only some of the rows to be there. So if you see, this is my complete data set. So I just want some of the columns to be there. So I'll say, okay, only these columns I need to consider, or I need to consider only these rows. That can be very well done. So that is what it is being done. I want only these columns, or I want only these rows. So I want only those rows for which islect is equal to 1. This is what it is doing. I said it is a classification problem. So I want only those rows for which it is equal to 1. Like this. Can you please let me know that if you have received the data set? Have you received the data set?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It is
ma'am. It's
posted in
posted in
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Okay, great. So could you upload the data set onto the code? Great. Great. So then I can go back and copy paste the different commands that I was trying to show you. This one. This is the most important command, which is used to read a CSV file. Please do it. Import pandas as PD, and then you read the CSV file into this DF. This is nothing but a variable. Please do it and let me know once you have done. Done? Not a problem, Prateek Paul sir. You convert, you just rename it to CSV. You rename it to .csv. It will be done. Okay. So by this you can have different. This command is used basically to have some of the columns only. And df underscore thin is nothing but a variable. And this command is used to have some of the rows. The previous command was used to have some of the columns, and the second is to have some of the rows. Okay. And this is the one which is trying to have only those rows for which isLiked is equal to 1. Only those rows for which isLiked is equal to 1. And what are the shape of this? So there are 92 rows for which isLiked is equal to 1. And only 5 columns because I was considering only those 5 heads. Okay, so I can skip all this. And then here comes the most important part. Now this is my complete data set. Okay. So if I go for same y is equal to mx plus c, so y is the dependent variable, and x is the independent variable. So this all forms my x. And this is my y, because this y is dependent on all this x. Okay, so I have to come up with a hypothesis, or I have to train the model that on the basis of all these x, I can predict the value of y. Correct? So I have to take, I have already shown you. So what I am trying to do is x is equal to ILOC, that is take all the rows, all the columns, all the rows, all the columns except the last column. Minus 1 means the last column. I can do the slicing from minus also. So I want x to be, see it very, very carefully. I'm explaining it again. X will comprise of all the rows. So that is why it says is to, nothing before and after. All the rows, all the columns except the last column. The last column will not be included because that is my y. And I can very well say y is equal to only the last column. Yeah. All the rows, but only the last column. So in this way, I will have my x and y. And I can go ahead and print the values of y also. Okay, I have not mentioned y here. Y dot values would be printed. sklearn is a very, very important library, and the most important part of sklearn is it has a lot of data sets, and these data sets can be directly used for your applications. Like sometimes when you are doing it for the first time and you're not very accustomed with machine learning or very proficient with machine learning, so what you can do is you can take some data sets which are already there with sklearn. You don't have to do much on to pre-processing and all this on that, and it's already there. You just have to apply machine learning algorithms and come up with certain decisions. Like there is one data set of breast cancer. So it is a detection of breast cancer. It's a very important data set, and a lot of research is being done in that. So we import all the data sets, sklearn.datasets, because the breast cancer data set is inside this data sets, and NumPy as NP and pandas as PD. We include all these, and we say that, okay, you load this data set. So we are loading the breast cancer data set inside a variable called breast underscore cancer. And we take the data to be as X and the target variable as to be Y. What are data and target? Data and target are standard variables or which are defined in this data set. So that is why I was telling you that if you want to use the existing data sets of sklearn, it makes your task very, very easy. And then I can go ahead and print X and Y like this. I can find out the shape of X and Y. So it has 569 rows and 30 columns for X, and 569 rows and 1 column for Y, because Y is the last column, the prediction. The person has the cancer or he doesn't have a cancer. So he doesn't have a cancer, it says 0. And if it has a cancer, it says 1. So malign and benign, 2 cases. So we say malignant and benign, 2 cases. The target names. Class, yeah. I'll upload the data set and form the data frame like this. And this, I am taking the class to be the last column, the target column, and I'm renaming it to be as class. That's it. I can describe the data set as what is the mean of the radius, what is the mean of the texture, and so on. And then I can count. So there are 357 cases with 1 and 212 cases with 0. So 212 patients doesn't have cancer and 357 patients have cancer. And here it is the most important part, the train, test, and split. So sklearn is just a library which has a lot of data sets which you can use for your own purpose. I'm just copy pasting the code here. So that you can just try it out once. I request all of you to please concentrate on this and do it along with me. Okay, I'm giving you 2 minutes of time to just copy paste these codes and try it out with me. Let me know if you have done till here. I have copy pasted the entire code here. Bhavesh sir, done? Name class dtype int64. What is this? Are
This
you
is the
getting any error?
output it is giving, ma'am.
For which command?
For the last one, print data class and value count.
Acha. Okay. Okay. So you were able to have 357 and 212. Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Anyone else is doing with me? Okay. Now comes the most important part, the train, test, and split. So this is what I was trying to explain you in the morning also and today also, in this session also. That is, we have the complete data set and we divide it into 3 parts, train, test, and validation part. But what happens, sometimes we don't have the testing data. So we have to convert the data set into 3 parts, training, validation, and testing, all the 3. But actually what we believe that the testing set is separate and we divide it into training and validation. Correct. But we don't say it as validation, we say it as testing only. So that is why it says train, test, and split. So split the data into 2 parts, training part and testing part. We don't say it as a validation part, but we say it as a testing part. Okay, so train, test, and split. So again, I'm copy pasting the code. Train, test, and split. And if you see this, this is the actual command of train, test, and split. So it is splitting it into X and Y. It is splitting it into X and Y. And if you don't give any measures, any parameters, you just write this. So by default, the 80% of the data will go for training and 20% will go for testing by default. If you want, you can give some other parameter as test underscore size is equal to 0.1. In this case, it would be 90-10. 90% will go for training and 10% will go for testing. And if you don't give anything, so by default, it would be 80-20 rule. 80% will go for training and 20% will go for testing. And this, here comes the 5 lines which I showed you in the morning as well, in which you are actually applying the linear regression model. But if you see this data, is linear regression applicable to such type of a model in which you are predicting the person has a cancer or not? Can anybody tell me? Is it a linear regression model? Can we apply a linear regression on such types of data in which I'm predicting yes or no? You can unmute the mic and speak, or if you want to write on the chat box, you may. Yes, it is not. It is a categorical data. It is categorical data in the sense you just have to say yes or no or 0 or 1. It's not a regression problem. So why I specifically did this, because you will get the answer. See, this is the answer. But is this what you actually want? No, I don't want. I just want 0 and 1s. So regression, it is not a regression data. If it, until and unless it is a continuous value, you should not apply linear regression onto this. You just apply the classification problem. So if you want to plot the plot a graph, then that also can be very well done. Import the matplotlib is the library which is used as PLT, and you can plot the graph, but actually it is not. So what you should be doing it now, I have used a Gaussian network. I have used a Naive Bayes classifier. I have used a classification technique of Naive Bayes with a Gaussian distribution. And then I can have such types of data. See, and then I can do the predictions. Okay, I'll have to, I have not executed all this. So that is why it gave me an error. So I could get a linear regression model. I can plot this and then I can go ahead and have a Naive Bayes classifier and get these values. And from that, I can find out the accuracy score like this. The Naive Bayes classification, if you see, it is not a straight line. It is not a straight line, but since you are getting an accuracy of close to 90%, so it's a very good accuracy. And so these points are very, very, very close to the actual line. So y predict minus y actual is quite close. You are getting an accuracy of 90%, which is quite good. Okay, it's quite a good accuracy, but always keep it in mind that what type of data you have, what type of problem you have. If it is labeled data, go for supervised learning. If it is unlabeled data, go for unsupervised learning. And whether you have a categorical data or you have a continuous data, and accordingly you apply regression or classification techniques. You will apply, you will get the answer, but this is not the correct answer, isn't it? So you should not go for linear regression model in such cases, which is a classification technique, classification problem. It's a classification problem. So go for naive Bayes, SVM, decision trees, etc., and come up with something like this. Okay. So definitely I'll be sharing the code with you. Today evening itself, I will share the slides and the code with Ramya ma'am, and she will do it along with you all. Now coming to the COVID data set. I'll give you an example that how it needs to be prepared. If you see this COVID data set, this has also been shared with Ramya ma'am. So it contains country, latitude, longitude, date, confirmed cases, deaths, and recoveries. Okay, it is something like this. So what was that for Afghanistan on 22nd of January, there were 0 confirmed cases, 0 deaths, and 0 recoveries. On 22nd of January in Hubei, in China, there were 444 cases confirmed, out of which 17 were deaths and 28 were recoveries. So like this, you can have the data for many countries. So if you have this data, what is the first step that you're going to do? First step, because I'm more concerned about my country, India. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll sort this on the country. This is nothing but pre-processing. So I'll sort this and I'll find out for India. Here I get. So I can take a data frame for this for India only. And put it into another Excel sheet and get this data frame like this. Now, if you see this data set, it's quite obvious this latitude and longitude is redundant. I'll remove these two columns. So I showed you how to take only some of the columns. What I'll do is I'll minimize the data set and take only date, confirmed cases, deaths, and recoveries. So one thing that I'll do is I'll take only some of the columns. I don't want to take all the columns. So I'll take only these two columns. So probably I will not consider these two columns. Next, if you see for a very long time, the data is zeros. Only after somewhere around 5th of March, the data started changing. So I can very well delete all these rows. I don't want these rows, isn't it? This all you can do with the help of pandas. You did this. This is what you're supposed to do. DF shape. So you'll take only some of the rows and you'll take only some of the columns like this. You don't want all the columns, you don't want all the rows. All this pre-processing is done. Then I need to encode this. Okay, so there is one hot encoder is a library which is used with Python, one hot encoder. So it will say 6th of March is 1. I'll just format the cell. Like this. And then I can say, okay, all these are encoded. 21st of April is 47, 17th of April is 43, and so on. Okay. This is nothing but pre-processing. So I was able to convert the alphabetic data into numbers with the help of one hot encoder. I was able to reduce some of the columns. I was able to reduce some of the rows in such a way so that now I can pre-process it. I can apply the machine learning algorithm onto this and predict what should be the value. Like suppose this has only the values till 21st of April. I want to predict what I want to predict the data for 21st of 23rd of April. I can do this. Like suppose today is 27th of December, 28th of December. So I'll take the data till 20th of till 1st of December and train the data completely. And for 1st to 27th, I will validate the data. I will check whatever my predictions are correct or wrong, and accordingly, I'll fine tune my parameters. I will try to fine tune my parameters. Okay, so I'll fine tune my parameters on the basis of the data that I have. Correct. So for till 1st of December, I will train the data set, and for the rest of the dates, that is from 1st December to 28th of December, 27th of December, I will validate my data and I will predict it for tomorrow. Or I can predict it for day after tomorrow and check whether my predictions are correct or not. Or if I don't want to go for the future part, what I can do is till September. I can train the model for September and October. I can go for validation of the model. And for November and December, I can go for testing of the model. Correct. So I want to do the predictions. Predictions, that is how many number of corona cases would be there. But it cannot be a linear mode. There would be a lot of parameters. Because if you see in the news also, some people say that, okay, the number of corona cases are going to decrease. Some say it is going to increase. So there are so many parameters that needs to be considered. It will never be a linear model. So you cannot apply linear regression onto this, but you will have to apply something complex. You have to come up with certain parameters. You have to come up with certain algorithms so that you are able to predict the values of confirmed cases, deaths, and recoveries for the coming days. Okay. But I'll be sharing the code with you, the one which I have written for mobile_clean. You take the same code, exactly the same code, and apply it onto the COVID data set and check what are the things that you can do. Okay. Any questions? Now we are open for the questions.
Any questions, please? Participants?
I hope I was able to live up to your expectations and come up with the things.
Participants, you can post the questions or you can unmute and speak.
Ma'am, can you explain a little bit about data cleaning over here?
Data cleaning is what I told. Data cleaning is basically data pre-processing. That is, you are trying to prepare the data so on which you can apply your machine learning algorithm. So as I showed you that COVID data set, so that COVID data set included a lot of columns and a lot of rows which you actually didn't need it, isn't it? I removed the 2 columns of latitude and longitude. This is data cleaning. You are cleaning the data for your own use. I don't want the data for Afghanistan, or I don't want the data for Pakistan. I can remove all that. This is nothing but data cleaning.
Yeah, ma'am. How can we remove the outliers in this data? That's actually I wanted to know.
Outliers.
Yes, ma'am.
Outliers is basically training the model. To be very frank and to be very this, machine learning algorithms, whichever you apply, decision trees, Naive Bayes, it's a black box. You give your data and you will get the predictions. How it is doing it is what we discussed in the morning.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
are training the model, they are finding out the outliers, they are fine tuning their parameters. What are those parameters? Theta 0, theta 1, theta 2 that we discussed in the morning.
Right, ma'am.
These are the parameters which it is fine tuning. It is finding out the correct values of theta 0, theta 1, and theta 2 so that your y prediction minus y actual is minimum. This is done for all the algorithms, whether supervised or unsupervised or reinforcement, all the algorithms is basically, because machine learning is about predictions.
Yes.
Data analysis. Okay. So you're trying to predict the values on the basis of your previous data. And this prediction should be as equal to the actual as possible. That is your error. So you're trying to reduce your error as much as possible.
Right, ma'am.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
So outlier is being taken care by the algorithm itself. It will not be shown to you. If you want, you don't write those 4 lines, which I showed you. Let me show it. These were the 4 lines of application of machine learning algorithm. Here. If you want, don't do this. Do it manually. And if you're
Okay.
doing it manually,
Got it, ma'am.
then you will have to take care of all those things.
Got it, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else, any queries or doubts?
I think Kanjavaran sir, the recordings would be shared with you.
Yes, we'll be sharing the recordings. Anyone else? Anyone else has any doubts? Ma'am, am I audible? Is my voice audible?
Yes, of course. Please go ahead.
Someone has unmuted the 1 second. Kindly request all the anyone did you unmute to ask the doubt? Panchavarnam sir.
Oh, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. Just you were telling me that you will be sending the video. Just I thanked you. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Pooja ma'am.
Thank you.
So you had done full justice for both the sessions, morning and afternoon. And really, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Since you're on travel and you took so much pain for, you didn't tell us or no for both for this particular date. Thank you so much. And the participants could learn a lot of hands-on from NumPy, sklearn, pandas, and this breast cancer data set and the COVID data set. I hope the participants will have a lot of takeaways, and you have to start working on the code that ma'am will be sharing with you. And once ma'am shares with us, we will surely share it. So please don't keep on asking, will you give us the code and the PPTs? See, the aim of conducting this FDP is to learn. Okay, so we'll be sharing whatever resource material we get with you, and all the recorded videos also will be shared with all the participants, provided they attend. They have at least 80% of the attendance, and that is a must. Okay, you have to at least attend the sessions to get all the resource materials. Ma'am, thank you for this very informative session, and also for your support from the start. You have been supporting us for even for arranging the resource persons for the other sessions also.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So from our management and from all the faculty of KCG, we request you to come for our future sessions also and support our institution.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
ma'am.
much. I'm really humbled. And also, I have shared my email ID. So if you have any questions regarding the coding part or the theoretical part or anything, just let me know. If you have any good research problem to be discussed, that also can be done. So I'm there for the collaborative research also. So at any point of time, if you want type of any assistance, please let me know. I
Yes,
would be
ma'am.
happy. Thank you so
So
much.
the